For a long time, we thought we knew exactly how big the universe was and how it began. We had our telescopes pointed at the sky, and we felt like we were looking at a finished map. We believed that stars and galaxies formed slowly, over billions of years, like a plant growing from a seed. But then we sent the James Webb Space Telescope 1,000,000 miles into space. This telescope is different. It doesn't just look at the light we can see, it sees heat signatures hidden behind giant clouds of space dust. It's like having a pair of night vision goggles for the entire universe. When the first pictures came back, scientists weren't just happy. They were confused. The images showed things that, according to our old rules of science, shouldn't be there. Webb found huge, bright galaxies existing in a time when the universe was supposed to be mostly empty and dark. It's as if you walked into a nursery and found a newborn baby that was already 6 feet tall. These discoveries are forcing us to admit that the universe is much older, much busier, and much larger than we ever imagined. Our tiny planet is starting to feel a lot smaller. We are finding out that what we used to call the whole universe is just a tiny corner of a much bigger, more mysterious picture. And the strangest part? Some of the things Webb found are so big, they've left scientists wondering if we even understand how time works. The biggest rule in space science used to be a simple one. Things take time to grow. We believed that after the Big Bang, the universe was a dark, soup-like mess of gas. It was supposed to take hundreds of millions, even billions of years for that gas to pull together, cool down, and eventually form the massive galaxies we see today. We expected the James Webb Telescope to look back at the early universe and find small, messy clumps of stars, the toddlers of the cosmos. Instead, Webb found monsters. The telescope captured images of massive, fully formed galaxies that existed just a few 100 million years after the universe began. To put that in perspective, in the timeline of the universe, these galaxies appeared when the cosmos was only about 3% of its current age. Imagine walking into a preschool and seeing a group of 3-year-olds who all have grey beards, weigh 200 pounds, and are discussing advanced calculus. It doesn't make sense. These galaxies are packed with stars. Some of them have as much mass as our own Milky Way, which has had over 13 billion years to grow. Finding these impossible galaxies is like finding a skyscraper in the middle of a desert, where no one has even started digging a foundation yet. This discovery has sent a shockwave through the scientific community because it challenges our most basic understanding of time and gravity. If these galaxies were already huge right at the beginning, it means one of two things. Either stars form much faster than we ever dreamed possible, or the universe itself is much, much older than we thought. If the universe is older, then our map of time is wrong. If stars form faster, then our map of physics is wrong. Either way, the scale of the universe's history just got a lot more complicated. We used to think we were looking at the finish line of a long race, but Webb is showing us that the race was already half over before we even realized it had started. These massive structures prove that the early universe was a much busier and more violent place than our textbooks ever described. But it's not just the age of these objects that is mind-bending, it's the sheer amount of empty space sitting between us and these giants. When we look up at the night sky, we see points of light and assume that's all there is. We see a star here and a galaxy there, and we imagine they're just floating around like dust motes in a room. But the James Webb Telescope has confirmed something much more unsettling. The galaxies aren't just drifting, they are trapped in a structure so large it's almost impossible to visualize. This is what scientists call the cosmic web. Imagine a giant three-dimensional spiderweb that stretches across the entire universe. The strands of this web are made of dark matter and gas, and where these strands cross each other, galaxies form. Webb has been able to see these faint filaments of gas connecting galaxies together over distances of millions of light years. This means that no galaxy is truly an island. Everything is tethered together by invisible highways of matter. But here is the part that is truly hard to wrap your head around. The web itself isn't the biggest part of the universe. The holes in the web are. Between these strands of galaxies lie massive areas of absolutely nothing. These are called voids. Some of these voids are hundreds of millions of light years across. They are the emptiest places in existence. If you were placed in the middle of one of these voids, you wouldn't see a single star in any direction. It would be total, absolute darkness for as far as light can travel. The scale here is staggering. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is about 100,000 light-years wide. That sounds huge, right? But some of these empty voids are so large you could fit thousands of Milky Ways inside them and still have room left over. Webb is showing us that the stuff we can see, the stars, the planets, the glowing nebulae, actually makes up a tiny fraction of the universe. The rest is just an endless, stretching ocean of emptiness. As Webb peers deeper, it's finding that the web is even more complex than we thought. It's like looking at a city from a satellite. At first you just see the lights, but then you realize there are roads, power lines, and vast empty outskirts connecting everything. This realization changes how we see our place in space. We aren't just in a vast room, we are tiny specks sitting on a single thread of a web that covers a distance so great, a beam of light would take billions of years just to cross a small section of it. As we follow the strands of that massive cosmic web, we eventually hit a wall. In everyday life, if you look at a distant mountain, you're seeing it as it is right now. But in space, looking further away is exactly the same thing as looking back in time. Because light has a speed limit, the James Webb Telescope is essentially a time machine. However, there is a limit to how far back our time machine can go, and Webb is pushing right up against it. This limit is called the observable universe. Imagine you are standing in a dark field with a flashlight. You can see as far as your light reaches, but you know there is more field beyond that darkness. In space, our flashlight is the speed of light. Since the universe is about 13.8 billion years old, you might think we can see 13.8 billion light-years in every direction. But here is where the scale gets terrifying. Because the universe has been stretching and expanding while that light was traveling toward us, the actual edge of what we can see is now about 46 billion light-years away in every direction. That creates a giant bubble around Earth that is 93 billion light-years wide. Everything inside this bubble is what we call the observable universe. But Webb is showing us that this bubble isn't the whole story. By finding those impossible galaxies we talked about, the ones that are too big and too old, Webb is hinting that the universe didn't just start and stop at the edges of our bubble. Most scientists now believe that the total universe is much larger than the 93 billion light-year bubble we can see. How much larger? Some calculations suggest the unobservable part of the universe, the part where light hasn't had enough time to reach us yet, is at least 250 times bigger than our bubble. Others believe it might be infinite. This means that for every star we can see with Webb, there could be trillions of others that we will never see. They are moving away from us so fast that their light will never reach our telescope, no matter how long we wait. This realization is the true terrifying scale. We are living in a tiny pocket of light, surrounded by an ocean of space that is literally growing faster than we can track it. We are like a single ant on a balloon that is being blown up. No matter how fast we run, the rest of the balloon is moving away from us even faster. Webb is effectively showing us the shoreline of an ocean we can never cross. And as we look at that shoreline, we've started to notice that even the things we can see are moving in ways that don't make any sense. It's as if something invisible is pulling on the edges of our map. If the universe is much larger than the bubble we can see, the next logical question is, what is happening to all that extra space? As we look toward the edges of our map, the James Webb Telescope has confirmed something even more unsettling than the sheer size of the cosmos. It's not just that the universe is big, it's that it's growing, and it's doing so at a speed that seems to break the rules. Scientists have known for a while that the universe is expanding, but they expected it to slow down over time, like a ball rolling to a stop. Instead, they found the opposite. The universe is flying apart faster and faster every second. The ghost behind this movement is something called dark energy. Think of dark energy as the opposite of gravity. While gravity tries to pull things together, dark energy acts like a pressure that pushes space itself apart. The James Webb Telescope has been used to measure the brightness of distant stars to calculate exactly how fast this expansion is happening. These measurements are incredibly precise, and they have confirmed a massive problem. The universe is expanding much faster than our best theories said it should. This is what scientists call the Hubble tension. It's a polite way of saying that our math for the universe is broken. When we look at the oldest light in the universe, it tells us the expansion should be one speed. But when Webb looks at the galaxies today, it sees them racing away at a much higher speed. It's as if you were driving a car and noticed that even though your foot wasn't on the gas, the speedometer kept climbing higher and higher. This discovery is terrifying because of what it means for the future. Because space is stretching so fast, the light from distant galaxies is being stretched out until it becomes invisible to us. Eventually, the expansion will be so fast that light from other galaxies will never be able to reach Earth again. If humans were to look at the sky trillions of years from now, they wouldn't see a single other galaxy. They would see a total, lonely blackness. As we watch the universe fly apart, we have to ask, what is actually holding the pieces together in the first place? If the expansion we just discussed is the force trying to tear the universe down, then there must be something else acting as the glue. The James Webb Telescope has recently provided us with the clearest look yet at this mystery, dark matter. We've known for a long time that there isn't enough normal stuff, like stars, planets, and gas, to provide the gravity needed to keep galaxies from spinning apart. There had to be something invisible providing extra weight. In 2026, using Webb's incredible resolution, scientists created the most detailed map of this invisible material ever made. What they found is that dark matter isn't just a theory, it is the literal scaffolding of the universe. Think of it like this. If you look at a city at night from an airplane, you see the streetlights. You don't see the asphalt, the foundations of the buildings, or the ground they sit on, but you know those things must be there or the lights would just fall. Webb has shown us that galaxies are like those streetlights. They are sitting on puddles of dark matter that are much larger and heavier than the galaxies themselves. Webb revealed that these clumps of dark matter are connected by thin, ghostly strings. This confirms that the universe has a skeleton that regular matter simply clings to. It turns out that when the universe was very young, dark matter clumped together first. Its gravity then acted like a magnet, pulling in the gas and dust that eventually became the stars and planets we see today. Without this invisible architect, our own Milky Way would have never formed, and the Earth wouldn't exist. The terrifying part of this scale is realizing how much of the universe is actually hidden. Between the dark energy pushing everything apart and the dark matter holding individual pieces together, normal matter, everything we have ever seen, touched, or measured, makes up less than 5% of the universe. We are living in a reality where 95% of the stuff around us is completely invisible and passes through our bodies like ghosts every single second. Webb is finally letting us see the blueprint of the house we live in, but it's also showing us that we are just tiny decorations on a much larger invisible machine. This machine is so vast and so complex that it makes our entire history feel like a single blink of an eye. Webb is essentially showing us a universe that is self-destructing by growing too large, too fast. We are living in a rare moment in history where we can still see our neighbors before they are pushed over the horizon forever. Thanks as always for watching, and until next time, think again.